Hello everyone and welcome to the Up Supercast, the only podcast openly willing to shill Capcom. I'm your host Mina, and joining me today is Brandon.
How long until Nintendo buys Capcom?
And Saf.
When will Shigeru save Resident Evil?
When will he? Not much happened this week. But
my question, by the way, is super outdated. Like, if I had asked that question like 5 years ago, maybe, but Capcom's doing real good now.
Capcom's doing so good right now. They're on top of their game. Yeah, things are going great.
Last generation, maybe, you know, but
not
now,
anymore.
No.
Not anymore.
Since RE7.
Yeah. Let's talk a little about Capcom. Why not? They've just kind of been on a upswing, like ever since really like Resident Evil 7, right? That's really been like the turnaround for them, right? Mm-hmm. They've just kind of had hit after hit after hit, both critically and commercially, and it's pretty exciting. Pretty exciting to be into Capcom games right now.
Yeah, it is good. Capcom has a lot of good IPs, and they're making good games out of those IPs.
I mean, so far they've released my game of the year, Monster Hunter Rise, and maybe Village will continue this. Resident Evil Village will continue that streak.
See, we only got 2 weeks until that game comes out from the recording of this podcast. So
yeah, it's pretty soon.
Exciting.
Pretty soon.
Good God.
Well, while we're on the subject of Resident Evil, they did a showcase last week, so this is a little bit outdated, but I thought there were some details about one of the projects in particular I want to talk about. But before we get into that, so Village, they showed off Village stuff. Not much to talk about there, but I thought it was interesting. The Mercenaries mode is back. How do you feeling about that?
Feel good about that. I mean, I like Mercenaries. It's coming back from. It was in 5, and it's a great side mode. People love that side mode, and for good reason. It was in 4 and 5. I don't think it was in 6, or I know it wasn't in 7.
Right.
But it even got its own little spin-off on the 3DS, like Resident Evil and Mercenaries. And yeah, it's like an arcade type mode where you just try to get points by shooting enemies and killing as many enemies as possible and doing combos and all sorts of stuff. Hoping that there's like a co-op mode maybe to it, because I had a lot of fun doing Mercenaries and co-op on Resident Evil 5. So I hope they let you do that again, because it's really fun. I don't know if you guys have played Mercenaries.
I have not.
I've not played Mercenaries before.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
But maybe in Village we will. Maybe. But
I mean,
so at the end of that,
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Resident Evil, it has a history of adding these side modes to its games. So
right.
But
Mercenaries is definitely one of them. It's the most popular one for sure, right?
Yeah.
Which makes sense. But at the end of that showcase that they had done, they announced Resident Evil 4 VR. So this is interesting because this is a first-person VR version of RE4. Now, we have 1,000,000,001 versions of RE4 as it is, right? But this is a more unique one for sure, right? Almost harkens back to like RE4 Wii Edition, but like even more wild, right? You'll be able to, so you'll be able to with motion controls just like in that game. But of course, man, first person alone just changes a lot. Armature is developing this. These are the studios. They broke off from Retro a while ago. They made Recore and they ported like MGS HD Collection to Vita. They've done a lot of porting work and not much original besides Recore, but now they're making RE4 VR, and apparently this is a pretty different version of RE4. Not just because it's not just like changing the perspective. They're like rebalancing the enemies to more take advantage of your more advanced movement that obviously a dual wielding motion controllers would be able to give you, right? Mm-hmm. Because you will be able to use both hands, which is interesting, to kind of do things. And I mean, this is just an all new way to play RE4. I think that's pretty cool. It's coming to Quest 2 for sure. We don't know if it's coming to any other VR platform, but we know it's coming to Quest 2. You think you'd play this version if you had a VR headset?
Maybe.
I definitely would if I had one, but I don't, so I probably won't.
You don't, and you're not buying one for this.
I wouldn't. I still wouldn't buy one for this. No, it's really cool, but I don't think it justifies the purchase.
I mean, yeah, I was trying to say, like,
Right.
it's a lot more involved than what I would expect it from, like, a VR outing. Like, from the description, it looks like you can walk around, like, you have, like, room movement as well in terms of, like, exploration, which I would not have expected from an RE4 port, if anything.
Very different from the way RE4 works, right?
Yeah.
Which is
So
known
is
for
that-
its, like, tank movement, right?
tank movement and, like, outdoor experience. Like, it's mostly just outdoors. Like, well, I say mostly. Like, you begin in, like, the village, for fuck's sake, and you just explore that area. So that's I want to see how that actually works out. I am fascinated by that.
But not fascinated enough to drop $300 on an Oculus.
No,
No,
definitely not.
absolutely not.
I've played Resident Evil 4 a bunch of times, and like I love it's one of my favorite games ever. So like I want to play it, but I'm like, yeah, I can't justify that for like kind of playing the same game. I know it's a remix version, but also it's probably not like it would probably be like that's neat as like as opposed to this is the best way to play Resident Evil 4. You know, it's probably more of a this is cool to like be in a VR version of one of my favorite games, but I don't see it as being like, this is the way everybody should play Resident Evil 4.
Yeah.
Right. This is cool for RE4 fans, right? But not like this is not. Yeah. But it's still a game you've already played, so it's like, eh.
Yeah. Just interested to see how they do like all different scenes and stuff from the game, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you already got the word. I get that feeling because like you already got the version that works well. Like the original one works well. So it's like this. I don't see how that could have like. I mean, it could be interesting for people who want to just see it, but it's like it's not one of those kind of things like you have to play or like this is like the definitive way of playing it. There's no signs of that, I guess.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe it'll turn out to be. Who knows? Maybe we'll find out later this year. This is the best way to play RE4.
Maybe.
But that's not the only Capcom news we got. This is actually my favorite news of the week. We got the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles got announced on Twitter, on social media. So this is a collection of the first and second Great Ace Attorney games, which if you don't know, they never came to America. These are 3DS games, came out in 2015, 2017. Directed by Shu Takumi, who directed the original trilogy and Apollo Justice, right? Or at least came halfway through Apollo Justice. But definitely, I mean, the original trilogy is his baby, right? He also made Ghost Trick, but in the context of Ace Attorney, like, you know, having the guy who did the trilogy come back to do something pretty big, right?
Yeah.
But these games never came out in America. And
nope.
Huh?
I said nope.
Yeah, and so it's like, you know, having these come out in English for the first time and other languages is pretty freaking crazy, right?
It's just...
And we can talk about why, and so they made some interesting choices, I think. So if you don't know, this is like Phoenix Wright's ancestor, right? This is so this is set like a pretty while back before the modern Ace Attorney games. It's set in the Meiji era, I think, in Japan. And so they're keeping all the Japanese names, though, which I thought was interesting. Like, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, like, they're just keeping that name. They're not localizing that name at all. And I think that's the right call, because this game, like, it would be hard to Americanize the way that they do games.
I mean, I don't know about ancient America,
but yeah,
that carrying around with samurai swords. Yeah, sorry, I was interrupting you. But yeah, they went like they don't just keep that, but they also had like what it seems like Japanese, English voice actors who are of Asian origin. It seems like.
And I thought that was pretty cool. Like they have like they have I don't know what nationality they are, but people who are ethnically Asian, right? Mostly Japanese, it seems, to playing these Japanese characters. I think that's that's a nice touch. Gives a little touch of authenticity to it, right?
Yeah. Just have it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just a lot of fun. I also think it's funny because the other part of it, it starts in England, but I mean it starts in Japan, but then you go to England, right? And the rest of the game is set in England. And Sherlock Holmes is in this game. Well, apparently there's some copyright issues with Sherlock Holmes. So, yeah, in this game, they call him Herlock Sholmes. So,
amazing.
I thought
amazing way to get around it.
Pretty great. Pretty fun way to do that. That's really hilarious. Yeah, I just thought that was very funny. But yeah, what do you guys think about this game coming over? I'm so excited for this.
I am so fucking pumped. I mean, I'd be more pumped if we didn't already know about it, you know? I mean, we've already
knew
talked about it
a while
on the
ago
podcast.
The leaks, didn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, the big Capcom leak. We've covered it on the podcast.
There was a big old Capcom leak, which we went in detail.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, we already knew. I mean, if you listen to this podcast, you already knew. But regardless, to see the news finally and to see it, you know, just everything in the release date and all that, still very exciting because I've always wanted to play these games, and I'm like, oh fuck yeah, I can finally play them. And it before the leak, I mean, it was like I'll never play them. You know what I mean? Like they're never coming out in America. Was there a fan translation? Do you know?
There was a fan translation of the first game. And I played that, actually. I actually played that, and they were working on the second one. I assume they stopped working on it, obviously, because this got officially announced, right? Right. But yeah, there was a fan translation of the original. And I wanted to bring this up. So one of the new features in this version, so it's coming to Switch, PS4, Steam, by the way, and in July, pretty soon, 3 months away, for $40 in US dollars. But they added a mode where the game just plays itself. Like, you can just sit back and read it. And you can activate it on and off at any time, too. So if there's just like a puzzle that you just get really irritated by, you can just turn that on real quick. It'll do it for you. You can just sit back and relax, which I think is fun. I might actually take advantage of that for the first game because I've already played the first game, you know? So I might just play through that in story mode, they call it. Yeah, just as a refresher before I get into 2. I think that'd be a really fun way to go about that.
That's good
for me, because you know I've already played this game, so it's like, you know, I don't need to figure these puzzles out again, you know.
right.
I don't even think. I just want to sit back and relax and enjoy the story. A smart addition to Ace Attorney, right? I think that, like, I mean, obviously, I find it fun figuring out the puzzles and stuff, but like, some people just want to enjoy the story. That's fine, you know. Just let them do it, you know. Sometimes Ace Attorney can be pretty obtuse, you know. So just
sometimes. I mean, it's gotten better.
Yeah, though some would argue the newer ones have gotten like too easy. But this game's actually interesting because I like I said, I played it, and so I do have some impressions. At least of the first game. I think finally this may actually end up working out better for us getting it in this way, in this collection, because it took us longer to get them. But the first game, while I thought it was really good, I actually really enjoyed it. You can also blatantly tell it's like the first half of a story, you know? But now all of you guys will be able to just play these games as one package, you know? Like to you, it won't even be like 1 and 2 games. It's just, this is one giant package as they were intended. And I think that'll be fun for a lot of people. I also think gameplay-wise, this game, like, kind of... Because the most recent mainline Ace Attorney games, 5 and 6, they're very streamlined, right? But this one, they actually do a lot of like interesting things that I think like evolve the formula in a way that really keeps the gameplay interesting in these games, right? Which is weird to say about an Ace Attorney game, but it's true. Like, they added a jury system, and so you kind of have to. That's just kind of a new way to interact in the courtroom. they added the way you figure out stuff with Sherlock Holmes or Herlock Sholmes. The way you figure out stuff with him involves doing all sorts of these crazy puzzles that actually involve thinking. So yeah, this is actually a really neat evolution of the Ace Attorney formula that I enjoyed a fair bit. So I'm excited for other people to play this, and I'm excited to play the second half of this game. So pretty soon, July.
Yeah. Very good.
Does Phoenix Wright make an appearance in this, or is this like a purely an extra thing?
Not. This is like, well, because this is set in the 20th century. This is literally like 100 years before Phoenix is even born,
Because I only glanced at the trailer and I saw like the picture of Phoenix Wright. It's like, wait, is this an extra?
Do you think they will touch upon like changing his name to Wright at all? Because this guy has a different last name than Phoenix does, despite being maybe it's his maternal grandfather. Maybe that's how they explain it.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny because in the Japanese version they have the same last name, right? Because they're the same. I mean, he's his grandpa, right? But yeah, it's weird that Phoenix Wright's grandpa has a different name. So
that is weird.
That's pretty much all for the news. Just Capcom stuff, really. Sony announced a big AAA multiplayer game made by a new studio, but that's literally all the details. So I was like, not much to say there,
they did.
And like Tales of Arise got a release date.
Yeah, it's true. Did.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of Sony,
so that coming out in September. Oh, speaking of Sony.
Yeah. Speaking of Sony, Jim Ryan went on record to say the PS5 is going to have the most exclusives of any PlayStation platform.
Ooh.
So you can have that to look for. That's what he said.
See,
right?
I didn't talk about that because that is what he said. I didn't talk about it because obviously he's gonna say that, right? Like, what is he gonna tell you? Oh no, we're gonna have less exclusives than. No, of course his job is to tell you we will have more exclusives than ever.
Well, I mean, yeah, but he could have said something like, "We're gonna try to get as many exclusives out as possible."
No,
that's a good PR answer.
To me, like, this is what you want to do to get people excited. You want to, even if it's a complete lie, even if you know it's a complete lie, like, it's just, it's just something you say.
I'm checking the numbers now. I'm checking the numbers, buddy.
You know what?
I'm going to look up.
By the time the PlayStation 6 comes out, we're going to tally it up, and we're going to see.
We are. Yeah, we are. Goddamn right we are. So, we're going to check it between the PS1, 2, 3, 4, Vita, PSP. We're checking them all, Jim Ryan. You fucking better not lie to us.
Goddamn.
So look forward to 7 years.
That's a big claim.
In 7 years, we will fact check this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. To me, it was just empty.
Mark it on your calendar.
But who knows? Who knows? Also, I guess in PlayStation news, real quick, they reversed the. We talked about them closing the PS3, Vita, PSP store. They're still closing the PSP store, but they're keeping PS3 and Vita open. So
good news.
That's pretty big.
Great news.
Good news. They're actually listening, so that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Good on them.
That's awesome news. Now if I don't have to be worried if somebody picks like a PS1 game for like the game club. Like I like to play an official version if I can, and it's just nice to have that, that store available with PS1 game classic still on the PS3, which should be available on the PS5. But we don't know how that is. But yeah, it's just nice option. So I'm glad that it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, but that's pretty much all the news there is. But we still got to do, of course, the list.
The list!
So, check out in the description, in the pastebin below. You'll definitely want to do that, but to follow along, because basically we have this big old list, and every week we add a game and we rank it against. We find a spot to rank it against every other this big old list we have. It's an index. So, yeah, you definitely want to follow along. Last week we added Life is Strange 2. Brandon added it. Got to 106. Pretty respectable for Life is Strange 2. But this week, Saf's been out for a while, so we're giving him a double. Saf gets to add 2 games this week.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So what do you want to add first, Saf?
So keeping in tradition with what Brandon does, I'm going to add a sequel to honor the fact I'm adding 2 games, which is Mario and Luigi Partners in Time.
Let's go. So what is Partners in Time?
So Mario and Luigi Partners in Time. If you played Superstar Saga, you get the whole idea of it's just a regular JRPG, except you have the addition of being able to affect. You have more control over the battle itself. Like, it's turn-based, but whenever an enemy attacks, you have the ability to defend against that attack. And whenever you attack, you have the ability to make your attacks more powerful by just mashing extra buttons or commands on whatever the instructions are. Partners in Time is a sequel to that game, which is, the story is unrelated to it, but it's still a sequel where it still keeps Mario and Luigi, but also adds 2 other elements, which is Baby Mario and Baby Luigi. And with that, they add more functionality in terms of like the gameplay itself. The story itself was shorter than Mario and Luigi, but it was still a fantastically written game through and through. With the what else can I say about this?
I mean, like, it's so Superstar Saga, which we do have on the list, right? And we have it decently high, right? Where is it?
Yeah, it's at, like, I was just looking.
49. It's at 49. And like, so this is like a very similar game, but it's weaker, right?
Yeah,
not
for
a
sure.
Pretty much in every way, right? Yeah, the second outing was not as good. I like they added the babies and they added like time travel and like dual screen gimmicks, but it was like, you know,
it was on the DS. So like, where the gimmick in the first game was, their gimmick and their idea when they're developing the game was, okay, well, you control Mario with A, you control Luigi with B, right? And then when the DS are like, okay, we have 4 buttons now, so you control Mario with A, Luigi with B, Baby Mario with Y and Baby Luigi with X, which was kind of cool, and they have the overworld abilities and stuff, and they took advantage, like you said, of the dual screens to have like bosses and fights that take like 2 screens up and stuff. But overall, I would say the story is definitely weaker, right?
Yeah.
The characters aren't as cool. Well, this one had the aliens, right? The
Shrooms.
Yeah, Yep.
Yeah. Which, I will give them this credit. At least this was still in the day when Mario games were allowed to have original characters in them.
True.
So they had that going for them. But the Shrooms were just all right. They weren't... not as memorable as
it was still like
awful.
At its core, like the formula is solid enough that like it's still
they didn't have that huge memorable villain.
But I think more than anything, this game is just
you know what? I said they were unrelated, and then you reminded me of fucking Fawful, because like Fawful makes his small cameo appearance as well in this game.
It does,
yeah, which was fun because like it's because you see the after effect of what's happening with Fawful, and then if you play the third game, you see him like after what's happened. Like he's in the second game, he's trying to make money to survive and trying to like plan out his revenge. And in the third game, he finds his revenge, and he found enough money to be able to do that shit, which is fucking hilarious. But yeah, aside from that, like I like the kind of gimmicks that they added. Like I like the attempt at the creativity of that game in terms of like being able to like switch between these characters between top screen and bottom screen, and using the dual screen for like the stuff like trampolines and cannonballs, and just using the extra verticality of that the handheld to add new mechanics to it. Like I liked those additions. I like those gimmicks. It helped make the game feel fun, despite the fact that it was shorter and just not as well written. To me, anyway.
I mean, it's pretty neat. I mean, I do like it. It's still good.
It's not a good game.
Yeah.
I think the formula is solid enough that even at its worst, it's still like engaging, right? It's like the battles are still engaging, and the game, unlike some of the later entries, it still did have interesting things going for it, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. It's just, where do you want to put it, Saf?
I wanna, because obviously we all agree that it's not as good as Superstar Saga, yeah. But as to where it would be compared to Superstar Saga, I want to put it somewhere around 60, below Mario Land 4.
That's honestly, Saf, I was thinking much lower than that.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking lower than that too.
I was thinking like in the Golden Sun area. That's 125.
Okay, I was thinking a little higher than that, but well, let's
honest to God, like, it's fine if it's down the near Golden Sun area, because like I could put it in between either of those and I feel no difference. Like
I'm sorry. I was gonna say I keep bouncing around. It's hard because I keep looking at a game and I'll be like, yeah, it's not better than this game, so let's stop. But then I see a game underneath it, and I'm like, well, yeah. So like,
do you think it's at least as good as Life is Strange 2, Brandon? Do you think it's at least as good as that, or
about what?
As good as Life is Strange 2?
Life is Strange 2?
I think it's weaker than it, honestly. Like, I really do.
Is it better than Octopath Traveler?
I would say so, at least.
I think it's better than Indivisible. I think it's better than Octopath.
Okay, I'm willing to put it above Indivisible, but below Life is Strange 2. I think that's fine.
It's not better than Pokemon Sword and Shield, but that should also go up.
But yeah, but you know, I would put it below Sword and Shield, Stardew Valley, and Life is Strange 2, and I haven't played Police Knots, and not below Phoenix. Yeah, this whole like area, I would pretty much put it below all these games. So
sure, yeah, I mean, I probably would too. So yeah, okay. I think that's good. I'm good with that.
And then we have a decent spot for it, number 107. So it's going to be surrounding it. We have from 105 through 109. We have Sword and Shield, Pokemon Sword and Shield, Life is Strange 2, Mario and Luigi Partners in Time, Indivisible, and Octopath Traveler. Well, Saf, what's your second game?
Keeping with the theme of sequels, and keeping the theme of the podcast of, in celebration of Ace Attorney, I'm gonna add Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney 2. The Justice for All. Hell yeah.
This is the weakest Ace Attorney game, I think.
Agree. Wholeheartedly.
It is the shortest, but despite being the shortest, it has the worst case in the series.
Agree.
Right. And so one of your 4 cases being the worst case in the series is pretty bad. The one of those cases is a tutorial case, and a pretty weak tutorial case at that, I would say. Not a very engaging one. So you're left with 2 other cases, which one of them was plot relevant, one was cool, and then the 4th case is amazing, right?
It's awesome. It is. Yeah, I love the 4th case.
Yeah, but is it enough to make up for all the shortcomings of this game?
No.
Yeah, and then the other part of Justice for All, I think, is that it introduced a new mechanic called Psylocks, where you would have to basically so their justification for it this was a way to make the investigations portion of the gameplay, not the courtroom, but the investigations, more engaging, because making it more than just a point and click, right?
Yeah.
So you still have to deduce things. It gave you a way to deduce things outside of the courtroom. But the way it was implemented was so oftentimes obtuse and so punishing too, right? That because you could get a game over outside of the courtroom, which was just like, why the fuck? Right?
Yeah.
And luckily, the newest versions alleviate the Psylocks problems a little bit, because you can save at any time now, right? versus having to save at set points in the game.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still annoying, you know? Especially because like when your gameplay loop is you're trying to figure things out, if the logic of that is obtuse, then that's just bad gameplay, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So sorry, I talked mostly about it. This was the game you added, but I was.
Oh no, I understand the passions of a fan for sure.
Yeah,
but it's
yeah, go on.
Yeah, sorry. Well, yeah, like it's as you say, like I think you've touched upon it. Although there's not much else I can add. Like it is still a visual novel. Like Francesca is not that great of a villain, unfortunately. Although she had her fun moments, but she isn't as good as like fucking Miles Edgeworth or say like antagonist.
She falls flat compared to her predecessor and even her successors, right?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Which is disappointing, but.
And I think that's kind of like, and I think Francisca's a really, I think she's kind of emblematic of a big problem in this game. Also, is that this is the midpoint of the trilogy, and it doesn't feel like it stands out on its own. Like this is only good when it's attached as part of a trilogy, you know?
Yeah.
But on its own, like Justice for All, it just falls flat. You know, it really does.
Yeah, really until like we said, until the last case, because the last case makes you question, like, oh, like, am I doing the right thing and stuff like that, which is the first time you get that in the series, which is really cool. You know, and I like that a lot. But yeah, I mean, when 3/4 of the game are just meh, you know,
either meh or actively bad, right? It's just
yeah. The third case fucking sucks so bad.
It's that fucking clown with his slow ha 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 ha.
Fucking big talk. I could not care less at all about that. It seems so disconnected from
everything else. Yeah,
and like Ace Attorney always has filler cases, but at least they're fun usually, right? Like they're fun
usually,
but. This one is just not. It's just exhausting.
It sucked. The characters sucked. The fucking twist sucked. Everything about it.
And they introduced annoying gameplay mechanics where, because like in the courtroom, one of the biggest things that you do, you have the option to press, each statement to get more information, right? And so but they introduce a bullshit mechanic in that case where it's like, if you press the wrong statement, you will get penalized, which like. How the fuck are you supposed to know the right statement to press?
To press,
you know,
right?
That's just asking for too much. Like that's it. It gets to the point where you no longer figure things out. You're just you're just trial and error. You know, and trial and error that involves resetting the game multiple times, and that's it's a frustrating experience. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you want it, Seth?
I want it above Wonderful 101.
It's at 102. So the original is at 102, and then
it would be
101 is 146.
146. Okay. You want it above or below?
Above. So taking Wonderful 101's place at 146, yeah.
What do you think, Brandon?
I don't hate that. Because Wonderful 101 kind of pisses me off a lot. With his gameplay.
But I feel like Wonderful 101 at least is... I don't know. I feel like Wonderful 101 has... Well, I don't know the higher highs, but... Because that last case is pretty good, but...
Yeah.
Because I was thinking, like, a fair bit lower, honestly. Like, in the, like... Fire Emblem Fates area. Like, 169.
I don't think it's...
But I can put it higher. I'm not opposed to it.
I don't know if I want to say if it's like at that level yet. I think it's just that like the last case really is just that kind of like makes it kind of worse the rest of the experience. I say it with the gritted teeth a little bit.
The other place I would put it, if you like. I mean, again, I'm fine with settling over there, but just another thought. Maybe I would put it below Luigi's Mansion at least, like 159.
So 160.
So it'd be
That's
160,
below Luigi's
yeah.
Mansion.
That's kind of the other place I was thinking. Because, I feel like it's Sonic Generations and Luigi's Mansion and Cave Story Plus.
Whoa, we've had Cave Story Plus down there?
Cave Story Plus is too low. It's just far too low.
Oh my god.
That's a pretty good spot, too.
For
Because I
Cave
would
Story?
put it above Drill Dozer.
Oh,
I'd
okay.
put it above Drill Dozer. For sure. And I'm fine with, yeah. Yeah, I actually kind of like that.
Steph, how do you like that?
Sure, yes, shove it down there.
Okay. So we have a place for it. So I assume you'll type that out for me. So it'll be at 160. So surrounding it, we have 158 through 162. We have Sonic Generations, Luigi's Mansion, Phoenix Wright Justice for All, Drill Dozer, and Haunting Ground. Sorry, Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Justice for All. That's the list, and that's the podcast. Brandon, if you want to do the plugs, and while he does the plugs, Sap, if you want to think of a final phrase to shove in there.
Oh wow, I'm getting all the good treatment.
Yeah,
That's what happens when you're on the podcast.
it's an event when you're here,
All right, well, hey, if you enjoyed the Jump Up Supercast, make sure you check us out on your favorite podcast listening service of your choice, whether that's SoundCloud, iTunes, or YouTube, or do they call it iTunes anymore? Is it still iTunes or is it Apple Podcast?
I think it's Apple Podcast now, just straight up.
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to update my
Yeah.
lingo here.
Yeah.
When new episodes of the Jump Up Supercast go up every single Monday. Every Monday, and without fail. I mean, we've been uploading podcasts every Monday for years now. And we also have another show every other Thursday, which is called the Jump Up Supercast Game Club, which is hosted by yours truly, where we play a game, and then we play a game for 2 weeks, and we talk about it. And that's got me, Ills, and Noah, who are both absent today. But we just recently played Omori for the game club, and pretty cool game. So if you want to hear us talk about that game, make sure you check it out this upcoming Thursday. Give us a follow, a like, or share the podcast around, and go ahead and comment down below. Are you excited about all the stuff Capcom's doing? Are you excited about the new Ace Attorney games? Do you agree with where we put the games on the list today? Let us know in the comments. And if you want to support the podcast, we do have a Patreon where for $1 a month, you get a chance to choose one of our Game Club games every round. And we actually raffled off that recently, and Omori was one of those games. So if there's a game that you want us to play, you get a chance to do that. Again, just $1 a month. You also get access to Discord where you can listen to us record live if you want to do that as well. And access to Patreon only chat and all that, where you talk to us about games. And you can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Stay up to date, everything Jump Up Supercast related. And we also post, of course, on social media, we post when the episodes go live and all that. But we also will post when we're streaming live on twitch.tv/Jump Up Supercast, where you can hang out and just, watch us play games, talk to us and chat, have a good time, and just enjoy yourself. So make sure you do that. And thank you guys so much for listening. We appreciate you. And Saf, say what you want to say for your final phrases.
Hell yeah. Well, this is the second week that Ilse hasn't been here, so just all I want to do is just ask our listeners to put their writing hats on and write to Ilse's pet cat, who is denying him the ability to just join us and talk to us on the podcast, and just let him on. That's all I ask.